Time today. How long have you been doing this?
Believe it or not, I've been on the commission now for 12 years, and I
Wow.
really have enjoyed it. Sure, we've had our challenges, but I love serving the city. I love being involved with the residents or getting a chance to get out and talk with them. I did serve 4 years as mayor, and I enjoyed that. It's a lot of work, so I'm glad to be sitting as a commissioner now.
Mm-hmm. What keeps you coming back?
I think it is the people working with my residents, my neighbors, the very dedicated city staff. It's a way that I can give back. It's interesting. We deal with issues from water to sewer to fire to airports to economic development to downtowns. Those are some challenging subjects, but they're really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Over the last year, what do you suppose has been a success, perhaps, and maybe something we need to work on?
I think one of the things that we've been able to do over the years, even with the economic challenges that we've had, is we've kept our budget balanced. We've had to make some cuts, but we've gotten our work done. I think that the exciting things that have gone on this year, things like the BC Vision Project, all of the folks working together now as we come out of this recession, now we can really take a hold of things like our downtown and see if we can't make some real strides down there and getting some businesses and some activity going.
You talked about the budget. Ask anybody. A balanced budget can be a challenge.
Yes.
How is that for us? Is it excessively challenging or on par with any city our size?
Actually, I think we've done really well. We have very dedicated staff, and they bring to us as commissioners their ideas for how we can save funds here, save funds there, do our work more efficiently. And I think that's one of the keys. We have laid off folks over the last number of years, and now we're slowly starting to come back. And I think you can feel it. Sometimes you've got to, things just are tough sometimes in the city. You can't get to every road that you want to get to. But we've got to make sure that we prioritize those things that are really necessary in the city.
Mm-hmm. You talked about BC Vision and changes that have happened. We've had a lot of change in the last year with the new city manager and other city positions that have had turnover, and the turnover at Battle Creek Unlimited, big change and transition there. How are you feeling about all of that?
I think it's exciting. I think Rebecca Furey has done a wonderful job. She really stepped in. We had some challenges when she got here, but she's worked very hard, and I think she's gotten to know a lot of the staff, the employees, really well. I think she's also really committed herself to keeping in touch with the commissioners. I know that she meets with all of us on a monthly basis. She sends out weekly information, so that's really key. As for Battle Creek Unlimited, it's tough because they've been struggling with downtown, but lots of cities struggle with their downtown. Each city has its own personality. And to try to find the right mix of what you're going to invest in, what you're going to prioritize in downtown, that's sometimes you have to kind of do some trial and error and try some different things. You never know what's going to quite catch on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they're working hard. Now that we have the two assistant city manager positions, I think that was a great move on Rebecca's part to set up those two assistants to her so that she can spread the work. Somebody can pick up a big project if we want to, say we've got to do something at the airport, or we've got to handle the BC Vision, or we're going to talk about updating our code. That's really helped when you get that staff organized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think what you're referring to is that the downtown development portion comes back under the city umbrella with those appointments. Better idea, you think?
I just think it's a chance to have fresh eyes on the challenges. I think that's difficult sometimes when you're trying to work on something that you've had some ideas, you had a lot of commitment on what you wanted to try to do, and sometimes it just takes somebody saying, wait a minute, I'm looking at something over here that's different, that's a new idea. So I think that's the way we can really make some good changes downtown.
Mm-hmm. Of course, related to all this is the Battle Creek Unlimited articulation agreement the city has, and some more accountability that has been built into that. Was it time for that, did you think?
I think that BCU has always been a great partner for the city. Look at the work that they've accomplished out at the industrial park and other manufacturing facilities around the community. They've done a great job. I think that you were asking that group to do some very different things when you're talking about economic development with industry and manufacturing versus a downtown. So I think that they were subject to the same sort of challenges as we are in dealing with budget issues and dealing with how we can really take a look at what's going to fit down there.
Mm-hmm. We talked with Commissioner Helmbold and Vice Mayor Lynn Ward Gray yesterday. Both of them alluded to the BC Vision notion that there have been some folks who've said they haven't had their voices heard in that, or at least as much as they wanted. Have you seen that too?
I think that it's always difficult to get folks to come down and really share their information, share their ideas. That's, I think, that first step, that monumental step to get folks to come down and become engaged. And sometimes it takes a project as big as BC Vision. We did a sort of a kind of that idea when we did our city manager search last year.
Mm-hmm.
We talked with hundreds of folks, and we had surveys everywhere, and we used Project 2020 to come in and help us gather that information. I think that was a great start because we did get people interested, and now I think more people are paying attention and listening to what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And by the same token, we talked with Brenda Hunt recently. We talk with her fairly regularly, and she said, this BC Vision thing was about the 100 days at that point. She said, this is unprecedented here. We've never seen anything this collaborative ever, and as much action as it's already begun. Do you see that too?
I do see that. I hear, when you go places, you can hear people talking about it and the fact that, yes, I got to give my input. I know they have monumental numbers when they talk about knocking on 30,000 doors. Now, not everybody answered on all of those doors,
Right.
but they did talk with hundreds of folks, and they have a lot of input. And that helps because not only are you gathering the information from those people and using their input on what you're developing for your plans, but also you've raised their interest. And now maybe they're going to be paying attention, looking at the reports. They're going to be keeping up to speed on what's going on. So they're going to be there as a resource later on.
Mm-hmm. All right. So looking beyond now, looking at the next year, Susan, what do you see that is a priority?
I do think that our downtown is a big priority. We've still got to deal with some empty storefronts down there. And it's just different because people, take a look at the mall. We recently had a big story on what's going on and not going on at the mall.
Yep.
People change in the way they shop and the way they look for their entertainment. It's different, and it is challenging to keep up to speed on that. We don't have the blessings of a city like Traverse City or South Haven, who have the lake as an asset and can rely on tourism. That's not what we've got. So we've got to create an area where our residents want to be when they want to spend downtown, where they want to enjoy, whether it's going out for restaurants, going out for drinks with friends, that sort of thing. Those are all the sorts of things that we have to take a look at. And so those, I think, are still the challenges. One
of the things the vice mayor brought up was the notion of jobs and jobs that are easily accessed and that pay well. And she's thinking particularly in her ward. But as you look at the city in general, do you see that need as well?
One of the things that you've got to match up, though, yes, we need to have good quality jobs. But that also means we're going to have our residents, our potential employees, prepared and skilled in the kinds of jobs that we need out there now. It's not simple anymore. You've got to understand computers. You've got to understand a lot more high tech to be able to perform a lot of the jobs, no matter what you're doing these days. And so we've got to make sure that we've communicated with the schools, with the employment agencies, to make sure they all understand what it is that the employers really need now.
Mm-hmm. Are we doing well enough at that now, do you think?
I think that we can step that up. And if you take that right back to the city, we have a variety of things that we do. Like I mentioned, we've got police, we've got fire, we've got roads, we've got water, we've got an airport, we've got transit. Those are a lot of different activities, a lot of different types of jobs. Let's make sure that we've shared what the skill sets required are, so that the employment agencies, so that students, our residents understand, gee, this is what's required, and gee, there are this many options that I can look at.
Fair enough. Election Day, next Tuesday. Commissioner Susan Baldwin's name will be among those on the ballot. Thank you for the time today.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
8:20.